So this week's trending topic is called social prescribing. Social prescribing. Can you explain to us what social prescribing is?
Yeah, so this is a topic where essentially doctors, medical providers are prescribing people going out and being more social, which makes so much sense as we're living in kind of Corona world with the
Mm,
pandemic having wreaked havoc on our relationships. That people are they're actually being prescribed having a more of a social life.
that's so cool. And I think that's really ingenious in a lot of ways. So how can you see social prescribing being helpful for an individual?
Yeah, well, again, we are social bonding creatures at our core. That is how the Lord created us. We are created for connection and relationships. And so we can't reflect if we're by ourselves. All the way from the time that we are babies, we only know ourselves to the degree that someone else reflects us back to ourselves, if that makes sense,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So we are constantly like holding up mirrors for one another. We kind of have a self-awareness based on the reflection that we get from other people, right? We know that we're funny because somebody laughs at our jokes, right?
Mhm.
We know that we're caring because someone has told us that, right? And that's true all the way kind of womb to tomb, right?
Mhm.
And so it makes so much sense that this is good for us, right? So one, it aids in self-awareness. It helps us to in counseling we talk a lot about co-regulation. In other words, that means like our emotions, they get really really intense and overwhelming when we're in them by ourselves, and so we need another person to be able to like be with us in the emotion, be with us in the conversation. How many
Mm,
times have we said, I just need to vent, right? Because there's something about talking about it with another person that's so powerful and so important. And
yeah.
so at the core, from biologically in our kind of neurobiology, we're created for relationships. So
Mm,
it makes so much sense to me that we become healthier the more known that we are, the more resources that we have, the more people that we can kind of bounce off of and reflect ourselves in.
mm.
Yeah, I mean, I could see there are so many far-reaching implications of social prescribing.
That's so cool. And so you did touch on a lot of them, like the co-regulation and things like that, but what are some of the benefits that social interaction, specifically during like a pandemic, post-COVID kind of world, we're kind of coming out of it, where social interaction may look different, but what are the benefits that we get to experience overall?
Yeah, yeah. So I think that, there's a lot of this is just like stress relief, right? It's
Mm,
just stress relief. So when I think about stress, which in our world we kind of call it anxiety, right? That there's so much that happens when we are left to our own kind of devices, right?
yeah.
When there's not someone else to like correct our point of view or our thinking, right? We can just kind of stay in these spirals in our own heads
Mm,
um, that are really unhealthy. And so when we're with other people, I think that if when we learn to trust in and find comfort in another, like I can see like levels of depression, decreasing, anxiety decreasing, right? Because it's not this, you don't have this I'm a terrible person because there's someone in your life to speak truth to you. Right?
mm,
I can see just stress levels, like I said, just reducing, um, just so many things. I mean, just we're just not meant to be alone. We're
yeah.
from the garden, right? Like God created Eve for Adam because man was not meant to be alone,
Mhm,
right? And so I think that just what we love to say, undoing one another's aloneness, is
mm,
so important as we have kind of been pushed into our homes and into aloneness, into the social distancing kind of culture, for us to begin to like undo that, right? To
yeah.
come out of those spaces. And I don't care if it's on Zoom or 6 feet apart or, like right next to one another. I think that we have to learn to be social again.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because, like you're saying, like at our core, we are created to be social beings. Like that is who God has designed us to be in relationship with Him and be in relationship with others. And I really think here we are now in the beginning of 2021, we're starting to see the implications of what isolation does to people. I mean, we know the statistics that anxiety and depression and other mental health issues are on the rise.
Mhm.
And I don't think that there's any accident or even much question that there's that correlation between not living in like community with people and the mental health issues. So that's so good. And I love just the practicality that you brought to that. Yeah. Zoom 6 feet apart or shoulder to shoulder, whatever you may be comfortable with, but it's so important to practice it and to undo some of the habits that we may have created over the last year.